Alright, have I got a special video for you today? So, normally with my project vlogs, we go out, we go onto the project and I'm talking to you about the project, what I've planned for it, how it turns out, what I'm looking for at the location. It's definitely still going to keep that series going like that, but for this project, I wanted to do something a bit different. This project was for the Zoetic launch video, which is Zoetic is a clothing brand, and it's one of my buddies. So we're actually going to head over to his house. We're going to go and see him, meet him, and we're going to do it like a bit more podcast style. So it's going to be a longer video. It's going to be maybe like 20-30 minutes. So yeah, we're just going to go into depth about like why he started the brand, why he wanted this video, what the video represented to him. It's going to be a bit more of like an in-depth kind of video because of the relationship that I have with him. So I thought it'd be something different, a bit more kind of interesting, a bit more of a deeper dive. Definitely will keep this series going on as being like kind of shorter and more informative, but this one is going to be slightly different and super fun. So enjoy this vid and yeah, let's get in there and go and meet him. Right, here we are with the third episode of Project Vlogs. I'm here with my close friend Gabe. It's been like my best friend since I moved to California, actually. And yeah, we're going to go into a bit more depth about Zoetic, what the brand is, why we made the video, and give a different kind of spin on my normal project vlogs. And do it more like kind of podcast style. So first, Gabe, let me get you to introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, just so you can, they know who you are.
For sure. Also, just for the record, Rio's first friend.
Yeah.
Not only best friend, but first friend.
Yeah, I was.
No, but so my name's Gabe. I'm the owner of Zoetic Apparel. It's a company that kind of stands for not just walking through life and, going through the motions, but living the dreams that we're constantly thinking of, even if that means going against the grain and not like taking the typical path of maybe going to school and, all the typical steps that we're told to take. So I don't know how in depth you want me to go on my like biography about myself or anything, but
just start with a small little introduction of like kind of where you're from and a couple of maybe hobbies that you have, and then we'll go more in depth as we go
Okay,
through.
for sure. So yeah, so I'm from Livermore, the East Bay area, where me and Rio met. We met in junior college there, both studying marketing.
Yes.
And I guess before that chapter in high school, I was really into sports, played football, baseball, pretty much my whole life, but baseball was like my bread and butter, my favorite sport, and what I was best at. School was always kind of like, I was average. It wasn't like a crazy bad student, but it definitely wasn't my passion at all. So I found my home in sports a lot, and then just kind of went to junior college as a next step, because that's what you're supposed to do, even if you don't know what you want to do. And, I'm grateful for it, and I wouldn't change anything, because I met Rio and like helped me find out a lot about mostly what I don't want to do. And it got me to think about what kind of life I do want to live instead. And yeah, one day I just decided to pull the trigger and activate some of the dreams I've been thinking about for a long time, and kind of still in that first chapter of the dream, I guess. So
Absolutely, definitely. I think we all are really still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great summary of like seeing, like from an outside perspective, like seeing you grow as a person has been like kind of crazy. And after junior college and you just kind of decided to go for those dreams, it's been like really inspirational just to see the struggle and see the payoff for that struggle, as well as you like keep progressing and keep taking the steps that you need to do in a direction that you want to, rather than a direction that's just like
sure. I mean, that's why like it's like so cool that we met at that time. Kind of going through similar things.
Very much so. Very much so.
Kind of weird how it happened, actually, but both growing like side by side and like finding our own passions and like running with it and ending up in the same place, coming from like 450 miles north, and like we kind of sparked that dream a little bit together.
We did. Yeah. I think that was, we may as well just carry on with like kind of that story of like our story together, because so we like met, hit it off, and like started hanging out a bunch. I think we were also both like just super, when we were in Livermore back in the UK, which is where we're from, great town, love the town. I think you loved growing up there as a kid, right? It was a cool place to be when you're younger, but as soon as you reach that age of like going to college and wanting to do more adult things, there's not much going on there for like kind of that age people. And so we were really craving like adventure, getting outside and getting to different places. and it was kind of hard to do from there. So I
Yeah.
think that's where the San Diego dream started. We came down here on the New Year's of 2019 to 2020, and my God, it was like the gnarliest trip I've ever done. We slept in the car for a few days. We met like some really good friends of ours now, actually. Reese and Steven, if you're watching this, we freaking love you guys, man. The kindest guys that we met in San Diego. But yeah, they were so nice. But yeah, that was like a gnarly trip. Slept in the car a bunch, slept on the beach one night, stayed at their house for like 2-3 days. And we really just like threw ourselves in the deep end of like not having the confidence, but having to have the confidence to go and speak to someone.
Really showcased like how kind of shy we were.
Yeah.
And we grew a lot. But anyways, yeah, that dream was really cool to like bring to life kind of together, even though, I mean, it's something I knew I wanted to be down in like SoCal. Like when it was time to move out, I knew I wanted to come down here for a long time, but I was like, dude, you didn't know, I mean, because you're not from here, you didn't know like that stuff. I was like, trust me, you probably won't. So yeah, dude, that trip was super crazy.
I think that trip for me was where like, I think this is like a typical thing, right? Everybody goes through some stage where they're all like, oh yeah, like I'm spontaneous, I love adventures, and I do this, and everyone says that they are like that, right? Everyone says it. If you're on Tinder, people even say that shit. But like, there's a line between like saying you are and like actually doing it. And for me, like that line lies between like the confidence as well of being able to just like go up to people and like speak to them and find common ground and make friends. And like that trip for me was that line of me saying like, oh, I am these things, to like, oh no, I actually am these things, of being able to actually start. And like that really kickstart that like self-confidence for me of just like being able to go and speak to someone and not caring what the outcome, or not caring what they thought of me, and just really kind of removing myself from that like traditional like thought of like being scared to like go and speak to someone.
I mean, we came down, we're like, okay, we're gonna take a trip to San Diego for like the week of New Year's, like, the week leading up into New Year's, because we're like, we're not going to spend New Year's Eve in our hometown where like everyone's in college, like there's no really kids our age left there. So we're like, we got to go do something fun. So we hopped in the car, drove like 8 hours down here, got a ticket on the way, had some fun on the way too. And then we got an Airbnb for like 2 nights, and we're like, okay, this is all we got to meet people and figure out where we're going to stay, because we're not going to pay for any other housing while we're here. And we're there for like
our final night. So we had like 2 nights, and then our final night was New Year's night. So we had like the 2 nights leading up to it, and then then we were out of the Airbnb, and on New Year's night we like had no place to stay. Like it was like do or die,
Yeah. So the 2 days, we just figured out we were a lot more talk than action at that point, because we're like, we knew it was going to be a challenge, but we didn't open our mouth to meet any new people like at all. So the 2 nights were up, we had to be out of our Airbnb. We still didn't have a place to stay, so we slept in the car. We almost suffocated in that car because we didn't crack a window. I
literally nearly died. It was
it was crazy. Worst night of sleep of my life for sure. And then we're like, dude, we can't do that again.
Yeah.
It was so bad. So the next day, it was New Year's Eve. We opened our mouth finally. Like the first people we talked to, like 12 hours or 24 hours later, we had a key to their house. And they were like, here, go make yourself at home. It was the craziest trip.
It was, dude, it was like 0 to 100.
Yeah, that's just kind of the trip in a nutshell. But like, I don't know, just being out of a comfort zone, we know that's like where we're going to grow. So that trip was like a big eye opener to like
huge
where life could take you if you
100%. And then let's fast forward a little bit. We don't spend like too much time. That kind of tells us like a bit of like our story, I guess. But tell me, obviously that trip had to do with it, but like tell me the birth of then like Zoetic. Like how did that come about? Like how did you come up like with the name? What does the name mean? And like where did it come from,
Yeah, for sure. So Zoetic is an interesting story because it didn't start with Zoetic. It like, I knew that I didn't want to live a life of just like 9 to 5, which everyone says they don't, but like 85 to 90% of people do. So I was just so determined to not live that life, and I'm still working towards that. And
that's not to say as well, I think this is a big misconception. I want to address this as well, like while we speak about it. But like, when people like Gabe, myself as well, a lot of our friend group who are all, a lot of us videographers, a lot of us creative people, when we say we don't want to work a 9 to 5, it doesn't say that we won't work a 9 to 5 to get to where we want to go. It's like always a huge misconception of people all the time are like, oh, don't want to work a 9 to 5, but then think that you have to either work a 9 to 5 or jump full ship and be like a full entrepreneur, like straight out the bat. And it's just like not the case. Like, you are, I am, a lot of other people that I've met are just so willing to work that 9 to 5, and then as soon as they finish at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, they're out at a video shoot, photo shoot, whatever they are, trying to build their brand and like build them into a new direction, and then work until 2 a.m. in the morning, and then wake up the next day to go and get their 9 to 5 and get their pay, right? You still got to pay bills, you still got to get that stuff done. And it's like, I think for a lot of people, and the realistic reality of it, is that you work that 9 to 5 until your side job or your video job starts becoming to pay more, and then it pays as much as your job, and then you lose half of your income because you quit your job, and then you gain the time back on your business, but then you've got to spend that time on your business, right? So it's like it's such an evolution of like a journey, and like to bring that full circle, like that's like the story a little bit of Zoetic, of how it like evolved. It didn't start as Zoetic, so carry on with that.
And I mean, I still have a job. Like, we're not anywhere close to there yet, but like the dream for me is just to live a life that I don't have to take a vacation from. Like, I don't like that word because it means you're vacating your reality. So like, I just want my reality to be something I don't want to leave, and most people don't ever achieve that life. They just, live the 9 to 5 kind of life because it's like good enough. And that's the thing, like, good is the greatest threat to great. It's not like, the middle ground is dangerous, and that's where people stay most of their life. So I'm just determined not to let myself stay there. And so I was trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. E-commerce platforms, there's so much stuff to do on the internet now. That's like, what everybody's trying to do in some capacity.
Internet money's great and everything.
Yeah, just like not trading your time for money, because that isn't very compoundable. Like, at some point you run out of time to trade, so just creating something that's compoundable. And I was kind of going through that journey, trying to figure out, okay, what is gonna create me this life that I want. And I started brewing up ideas for a clothing brand that was not Zoetic. It was completely different. It was just, it was like tie-dye stuff, and it was like beachy kind of streetwear. And it never got off the ground or anything. But I just didn't, the reason for that, it didn't have like the roots to go anywhere, because it was purely based off of me wanting to create money so I can fund a life that I want to live. So there's nothing really like backing it. It was very like a shallow idea. And it took a long time for me to like sit and think and constantly like run ideas through my mind to get to a point where I had to find passion in what I was going to do to create the life I wanted. And I thought, well, like, I know I'm not the only person that is thinking the way I'm thinking, because like, I mean, that's why we get along so well, and all of our friend group, plus like, at least if we meet somebody, dude, it's like a 50-50 chance they have our mindset. So many people like are thinking this way. And so I'm like, why don't I just create something that creates a community around the like-minded people like you and I, who are so eager to, sprint down the path to like get to the most amazing life we can accomplish. So I started thinking about things that, represent that lifestyle and what it means. So Zoetic, like the root of Zoetic means to be alive, and that can go so deep and mean so many different things. But to me, it's like, not just walking through life and doing what you're supposed to be doing, because like those people really aren't alive. Like, they're just existing and like jumping through the hoops they're told they need to jump through to have a good life. And if that's your dream, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I just don't believe that the vast majority of people actually want that to be their life. So Zoetic just means to be alive, because it's kind of cliche, but everybody dies, but not everybody lives, and it's like really, really true.
Freaking profound. That is profound.
Yeah, no, dude, so true. And so I just want to create a community of people that think like me, and that I want to surround myself with those people. That's like power of association is like one of the most important things to get you to where you're going. And so not only for like my own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone that surrounds himself like with those like-minded people, I want to create a community of people that are all, you know, going the same way. And there's going to be cool graphics and stuff that come along with the clothing, but the root of it is like to create a family and a movement of people, like to remind yourself why you're going through the mud you're going through, or why you're putting yourself in these like, you know, situations that normal people wouldn't put themselves in because like they're not after something greater, you know? So I'm still kind of learning how to express the brand fully myself, which is part of my.
I think you did a good job.
Thanks, bro. I mean, it's part of the growth curve. Also, is like I have these ideas, but like voicing them is also something I need to like work on and grow in that area. But the gist of it is that, I think.
Yeah, dude. And I think, I mean, you out here dropping straight knowledge on people, dude. But like, yeah, and I think it's crazy similar how someone who, when you are behind a brand, when you work and build something of your own, whatever it is, it can be a fucking clothing brand, it can be a video brand, it could be like, they're the ones I go to because they're the ones I know, but it can be literally anything. It can be a tripod company that my freaking camera is standing on right now, you know, it can be like anything. But like, it's so similar how you like come across these people and they're all going right through various similar stages of things because you're all about building something. So like when you're talking about how to express your brand, how to talk about it, how to verbalize it, you know, like I'm going through all of that myself, you know, how to like show my brand, how to like create a logo, how to talk about RPG Productions. What the fuck does that even mean? What does the brand stand for? What kind of video do I actually do? And like, those are all the kind of questions that you like just come across, and it's like really deep in those. They're like the questions that for me that are like the ones that make you feel alive. You know, they really consider like why you're here and like why you're doing what you're doing, and just gives like extra purpose to what you're doing. So yeah, dude, I think that was like such a good segment, honestly.
Yeah, dude, there's like so many different little avenues I think we can go down when like it comes to building a successful life. Yeah. Also, I think that's a huge misconception. To me, I'm talking about what is a successful life to me in my eyes. Like, I think success is just like art, where like your version of it or version of beauty, like it's in the eye of the beholder. So what's successful to me may not be successful to you, you know? So like if your definition of success is having a 9 to 5 and earning $150,000 a year or whatever, and having 2 kids and like the average American dream or whatever, then that's awesome. And then if you get to that point, you're successful. And if that's success to you, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be
100%.
successful to me or anyone else. But yeah, I think like success for me and the community of people I want to build is people that free themselves from trading their time for money so that they can like fully experience life and do the things they want to do. And the people that don't want to accomplish that in their life doesn't mean it's not success, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I just want to surround myself with people who are on the same path, because that's what's the most powerful thing that you can do to get yourself there. And
yeah, and you're never going to convince everybody to see the world the way that you are. We're not built like that, you know. And like Gabe was saying, like there's people's definition of success, and that freedom is like so many different things. You know, there's a lot of people coming from like way poorer backgrounds and not living in those poor conditions and having, you know, what is a typical American dream of the job and the 9 to 5 is like a totally cool and amazing dream to have. And if you succeed at like amazing, like all credit to you, like sick. But yeah, like you're saying, it's like, this is my definition of success. I'm creating a brand around it, and that's the people I want to surround myself with. And I don't think there's any harm in putting yourself out there of like who you are and what you're about, and then wanting to attract the same kind of people. But now I want to move on a little bit from that and move into then the actual video of Zoetic. So kind of what is Zoetic was the name of the video. And I co-produced it with Gabe, Zach Fleischman. We should have him here, man. Fuck, we should have him.
He's such a character.
He's such a good guy. But he's the one who shot it. I'm not going to take credit for that. He did a great job of like shooting the actual video. Did a really, really good job with that. I put it together in the edit. Me and him sat there for hours going through it, making sure the cuts were correct. And I was so stoked on the product after we'd like kind of shot it. And I think I wasn't just stoked because because I mean it was a great video. Like I think the cinematography, I think the editing, the song, I think it all came together and it was beautiful. I think the edit was really good, but I think it was really significant for me, just with you as well. I think we'd spoken about for so long back in the Bay Area when we didn't really have the community around us. We didn't have the facility to do it. We didn't have the skill set to do it. You know, I wasn't a skilled videographer back then at all. And it's like we didn't have the abilities to and the resources to make something like that. And then, you know, 2 years after knowing each other, we've then come out with this video and you've started this brand, which we like visualize and we have a dream of creating like that time ago. And we like, I sat down afterwards and I was like, damn, bro, like, dude, we did it. Like, we said it and we did it, bro.
Yeah.
And then it also made me think, like, bro, like, okay, what are we going to say now? Like, what are we doing after this, you know? So it's like, yeah, it was such a significant moment. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the actual video itself. So Zach shot it, and you had a very clear vision of like how you made the video. And I didn't create the storyboard for this. I didn't create like how it was going to look. This was all Gabe. And again, just another like kind of, it goes to show like you're creative. If you have a brand, you have a vision, and you're a visual person, you can go ahead and create your own video, and you find the people to shoot it for you. You know, like Gabe doesn't shoot. I mean, he can shoot, but not to the level of like me or Zach or anybody like that. So he was able to come up with clear enough vision that he was able to convey it to Zach, who then shot it, and then I put it together. You know, so I think that's a great thing, is that anybody out there can produce a video if you really want to. You know, if you have a brand or you have an idea and you want to convey it, you can just like visualize it, draw it out as shitty as it may be on a piece of paper, and just like draw it out shot by shot, and explain it to someone, and you can create it. And that's exactly what we did with this video. But what was your initial vision behind the video? Like, what were you trying to convey? What was the brand like? What were you showing about the brand through the video? And like, how did you come up with the shots?
So the video, like storyboard and all that, it kind of pieced itself together. It wasn't like all at once. I got like bits and pieces that would come here and there. Like I knew I wanted to tell my story, because I think as unique as it can be, I think it's pretty like average for like the person that goes to school, to college, because they're supposed to go, and then they kind of like have desires to do other things, but don't want to make the leap, don't want to disappoint their parents, you know, all those things that come with going against the grain. And that was my story. So I just wanted to just show my story as pure as I could, with like as many small details as I could, because it's just meaningful to me. And I think, you know, it'd come together and the emotions would flow through it really well if it was all like pretty realistic on how it happened. So I just tried to make it, you know, as close to the reality of what I was living at the time of my life. And I think we nailed it with, you know, me being in class and not really paying attention much, like having my laptop open like everybody else, but instead of doing coursework, I'm like looking at the stock market, trying to figure out, you know, like trading penny stocks. I would do a lot in like math class, and like doing whatever, looking at videos of certain people that would inspire me to go out and live my dream, or you know, stuff like that. Leaving class to go like just look into the distance and think about what I would rather be doing and how life could be like 5 years from now. And maybe listen to like a really inspirational song that fires me up or something. Like all those things I would do throughout the week all the time. Leave class early, not show up to class, you know. And we just try to put that in the video, most of it at least.
Yeah, I think we did a good job of that.
And then,
and I think on that as well, I think it was cool for me. Obviously, like I'm a little bit biased in the sense that I lived I was shared in Gabe's story at that particular time in his life as well. But I think you're really right of what you said before. I think that's not too far from the truth from like what a lot of kids in that position like experience, of like just really not feeling engaged and like wanting to search for something outside of it. And that's why I think I was so stoked when I was watching it. I was like, yeah, we did such a good job of like capturing the specific moments that we had. Because I can remember sitting with you there in our intro to business course, and we would sit there and like, I remember a couple of times we used to get into trouble like at the start of the class, everyone's talking and we're like fucking stoked, like, oh my God, bro, did you see this video of Jay Alvarez, bro? Like, and like we'd be talking about it, we'd talking about all these influencers, all that, and he'd like be like hushing the class, like, and me and him would still be going aware, like just so stoked at like what we'd both been sharing with each other. And I think that like disconnect from like the class and what everything's going on, and what you were thinking and what you were feeling and what you were searching for was like really captured in that. Like the first part of this, like the first segment of the video.
Yeah.
I think that was really captured really nicely in that.
Yeah, the 100%. It's like super, super accurate. Like,
Yeah.
And I had a super like clear vision how I wanted to come out, and also credit to everybody that took part in making this video. Rio, Jared, Jared that did pictures, Zach. You know, everybody killed it, and like I was pretty particular in some spots, and they absolutely nailed it. So I just want to say that. But like.
And everybody that came and shot, like all the classroom shots that we did for that video, bro. Everyone came through. We had a group chat of like 25 people.
Yeah,
we had at least 20 people in.
Yeah, dude, shout out to all you guys.
It was like amazing. Like all of the people in that scene. I'll flash it up on the screen right now so I know what we're talking about. But that scene, everybody you see in there is like just all came for Gabe and like for the brand. It was like awesome to see. Even the professor at the front of the class. Yeah, dude,
that was a big thing with this project. But yeah, shout out to everybody that showed up, because that scene and the vision I had for it would have not have happened if we couldn't have, you know, like a classroom setting. So as simple as it was like super simple.
Amazing.
And then the real professor, an actual San Diego State professor, came and was cool enough to like be like, you know, just give a fake lecture while we're shooting a project that wasn't even for school. Like, we may have told him it was or something just so he would do it, but I don't even. He didn't know. He didn't know.
He knew it was for your brand. It was
because he knew. He asked me about it at one point and stuff too. So I can't remember his name, but that guy was so cool, and to feel support like that is pretty sick. So
and how cool is this as well of a moment? You can tell this, but so we were sat there, and we just started filming the shots. Zach's getting the shots that we need to get. And Gabe sat there, and the professor asks him, he's like, "Oh, what's the name of the brand?" And like asks him to speak about it. And then take it away. What did he say?
Yeah, so I said it's Zoetic, and then he said, you know, what does that mean? Or he asked what that means to me, I guess. And I gave him a small rundown about
which he was quite impressed with, by the way.
He
was like, "Oh, not too bad."
No, but then he took me to school on the root of what the root of the word means, and kind of history behind it and whatever. And it was really cool because there wasn't like a very clear definition on the word zoetic like that I found. And he just went into detail with that, and it was like really cool to hear, like, I don't know, one, that he knew about it and it was really in line with what I want the brand to be about. And he, you know, just went off for a few minutes about it, and it was like really cool.
Yeah, and it's like
unexpected.
It's just not like gnarly to think that you're not at school, and then you come back to school to film something for a brand, and then you are now at school for your brand.
For my brand.
What, like,
and not to mention the video we're filming in front of a professor is about me not going to class and leaving class and dropping out of school. And it was a really kind of a surreal moment, but it was like really cool, and he was a very cool guy, and just open-minded and stuff. So that part of the video was really special, because that was by far the hardest to pull off. We had to have like a good setting and a real professor.
A lot of coordination.
For sure. Yeah.
But no, incredible that we pulled that off, man. It was really cool.
Yeah.
That whole scene was great, and like putting it together was cool, and I really enjoyed that part of like the actual process. I think that was really fun.
Yeah, and Rio was sitting next to me in the video.
Yeah.
Which is cool because the classroom that I guess most of the events took place in, where I would like leave and all this stuff, Rio wasn't in that class.
Yeah.
But the class we met in, the reason we met is because the first day of that class, I sat next to him, and it was just like how it was in the video.
Yeah. So after the classroom stuff, then we get into like kind of more of a high intensity part of the edit. And what was your like objective with this part of the edit? Why did you want to make it like this?
So this part of the edit, I was trying to figure out, because there's no words in the video, so I'm trying to figure out how I can like get the message across, that I'm taking the leap of faith to go for the things that are on my mind every day, and leaving school, not coming back without any words being said. And the story just followed along how my story did in real life. In the video, I get to a point where the camera is circling me, and it's representing me and all my thoughts going through my head, and me getting fed up with everything I want to be doing and being stuck in school and it just, letting life control me instead of me like taking control of my life. And then at some point I throw up like all my school papers in the air representing that I'm quitting and I'm going for it. In real life, I obviously didn't do that. It was more mental. And but the whole thing leading up to that, me leaving class early and like just going to a part of campus I can just think and be alone or just reflect on things is what I would do like constantly when I was in school. So it's just a dramatic way to tell my story, and I think it worked out really well, even though it was kind of a little bit difficult to film.
Yeah, it was difficult to film, and it's hard to like necessarily like dramatize like something like you said with action and visually that's going on in here more than anything.
Yeah.
Because you don't see kids going through that struggle throwing their shit in the air and stuff, but
Yeah.
like it's like again that's that that video piece, right, where we take those concepts of like what you're feeling and represent that through the kind of physical motion of the actual image that you're seeing. And that's just like a huge part of video. It's like, okay, how do we take this thing that's up here and like make it into a video, even to the point of like branding stuff, like how do I take when I shoot like just normal video for a brand where I'm trying to market their product or I'm doing a commercial for them. It's like, okay, how do we take a concept of like what you want to show and how do we put it in like visually and how do we show that to someone, because normally a brand is going to come to you and say like, hey, we've got like these sunglasses or whatever. It's like, hey, we've got these sunglasses, we want to show it in like a beach setting, friends having some fun. We want to show that they're like, then they'll talk about the product. We want to show that it's like waterproof, that it's durable. And we want to have like, this cool ending screen, or we need this kind of like marketing on it and stuff like that. So you'll take those three elements of like what the branding is, what the product is and what it needs to show and the vibe that they're going for and the kind of what they're trying to show through the video. And then you're trying to amalgamate them into this like storyboard of what they need, and it's just like, that concept and that skill set of learning how to interpret what a brand wants and showing it to them in a video format is like a real skill, and it's where it comes in mostly. And like when you get in, like whoever, if you're watching this and you're like in video or you're going into video, that's the number one skill set I would say like develop is like storytelling. No better way to develop like storytelling skills than just like going out there and filming, whether it's a vlog, like practicing commercials with your own stuff that you have, like just getting out there and doing it and making the mistakes of like, this doesn't make sense, this does. That's the best way to learn that storytelling skill that I've ever come across,
Yeah, just doing it.
100%. Anyway, that's a little sidetrack. Back to the video and the Zoetic. So yeah, I think we really represented that really well. And then after that climax happens and we go into like the main chorus of the video, what's the objective there, and like what are we showing in that main part of the video?
Yeah. So that was a difficult part because none of the stuff that came after the climax of everything building up and me dropping out of school, everything following that was pre-shot clips from
way back when.
Yeah, like just a lot of clips from a long time ago, which all those clips were like me after I dropped out of school. It's just been a little while. So like, it was hard to tie that into the video because, the brand is in there, but it's so early in the brand that like there's not a whole lot to show for. And, in reality, the brand didn't come. It's not like... This is the thing too, if you make the decision to, go after your dreams and your dreams don't include going the traditional route of going to college and stuff, like I didn't drop out of school and then start this brand and now things are going great. Like I'm starting this brand, I'm 21 now, and, I left school, I was like 19, I think, maybe almost 20. So it doesn't just happen, and it's a lot of hard work for sure. But like, all those clips were just as hard as because it's just representing like what could happen after you take your leap of faith and maybe how much more free you feel, and all the possibilities that are now possible to achieve with whatever your dream is. So those are very interesting clips. They're fun. They're like high pace, energetic, and some of them are a little flashy, and they're my real experiences. We didn't go to like places to film to just like get cool shots or whatever. Like all of those are really part of my story, parts of his story and stuff. And then tying the brand into that, even though it's like there's very little to.
Yeah, it wasn't unauthentic. Like I think that's the one thing. Like they're all real clips. They're all really filmed. We weren't like setting up locations to go and film. You know, all of the different spots that you see in the video, we actually went to, and we came across, or we were there, or whatever, and we were filming. So yeah, it's still like a very authentic video. But yeah, like you said, it's that kind of crazy. It was back then. It was just after it dropped out, and you really. And it's what happens when you just like start like really searching in yourself for like purpose and meaning. Is you just like go to fucking weird places and like find yourself a bit more. Like
no, for
it's
sure.
Like
and some of those clips, like if I didn't drop out, may have not taken place. You know, maybe they could have for sure. But like I think that more than anything, that sequence of clips, the fun stuff, the cool stuff, is just like a glimpse of what life can be like if you go for your dreams rather than being stuck in like the norm of life that most people just go through, kind of like the hamster wheel that everybody talks about. So I don't know, it's just hard to put a lot of like branding stuff in there when it's so fresh and so new, which that stuff will change in the future for sure.
Yeah, and it will come for sure. And like as you said, you're building a brand around those cool things, right? So there's going to be just inadvertently included in it as you go through that whole process. But yeah, I think that basically like wraps the video up of it, you know, like kind of summarizing what it was about and like why you did it. I think that was a great way of kind of like looking at that and just explaining. And I think that's like, it's so powerful to see that someone who doesn't do video professionally, like, yeah, he can be inspired by video and come up with something that's like really profound. You know, one of the most profound videos I've made and had the pleasure of like editing was that video, like 100%, you know? So I think, yeah,
I'd say too, there's like a lot to be said with like he's helping me fulfill like my visions and dreams so that I can grow and create the life I want. And also like, so he's giving me business and I'm giving him business because he, you know, his stuff is all about filming and creating and putting projects together that convey a story very, very well and clearly, that move your audience and all that stuff. So there's gonna be so much more of that to come in the future. And like, I don't know, I think it's just really important to surround yourself with people that you can not only bounce ideas off of, but like help each other out.
Yeah, like a community that just is symbiotically like sharing value. Like this, once you understand this like transfer of value, it's like, it's not just money. Transfer of value is like everything, dude. It's like business in the sense of just like, you know, a project like this that I'm able to edit and I spend hours and hours on with him. And like someone would be like, oh damn, like did you just be getting paid for that? It's like, no, like this is a cool project. I'm gonna get good like publicity in that sense of like it's something that I could put my name behind and be very proud of. I'm also helping a buddy out, you know, helping him like achieve his dreams of where he wants to go. And once you're in a community where you're all helping each other achieve what you want to achieve, and then you all achieve it together, that's just the fucking dream, dude. Like, you know, if you all are business owners, free out there, like have the free time, you're not tied down to the 9 to 5, you're not tied down to a job, and you can just really like, you know, be super stoked about what you've built and what you're continuing to build. It's like, that's what it's all about.
For sure. Yeah, like even making it to the top of that mountain without your homies, it's like, do you even want to do that, you know? And we're so stoked for the future because like when back in the Bay Area, we kind of manifested this whole thing of like, you know, in the Bay Area, it was just like me and him. That's like, that's all we had, like-minded people to bounce ideas off of. And now we're both down here with a group that we're constantly growing. Yeah. And everyone is so on the same page. It's so amazing.
Love the community down here. And it's only growing, which is the coolest thing as well, you know? Like I've met just like you meet more and more of the similar people and it just keeps swelling and it's just like it's so cool. And like big shout out to all you guys, you know exactly who you are. We love you all so much. But yeah, it's like it's just great to be part of this community here, and that's why I just can't see myself from like being anywhere else in that sense, you know, unless the group's like, yo, let's go to Bali. Then it's like, all right, let's go. But like other than that, yeah, dude, San Diego is the place to be. All right, that brings an end to episode 3 of Project Vlogs. I hope you enjoyed it. It was something a bit different. And I just went into a bit more depth into my relationship and story with my best buddy here, Gabe. So we've got Kiara to finish off the video for us here, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.
Okay, Okay, das war's gewesen. Danke vielmals fürs Zuschauen. Tschüss!
That was sick.
Nice.
Ciao.